Dabbleverse, where content has no shame. And Lucy's Tightbox comes in first. Lucy does dabble, Lucy does Dabbleverse, she does dabble, Lucy does Dabbleverse, Lucy does Dabbleverse. Lucy Tightbox brings the facts, and she breaks them down for us. Lucy does Dabbleverse. La la la, Lucy has a Tightbox and she shares it with dabblers. No, not like that, but she does this show for us. Lucy does dabble, Lucy does Dabbleverse, 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 yes she does, yes she do it, Lucy does Dabbleverse, yes she does, Lucy does Dabbleverse. Lucy does Dabbleverse, she does. Lucy does Dabbleverse, she does. Lucy does Dabbleverse.
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Lucy Does Dabbleverse. I, of course, am Lucy Tightbox, and I am very excited because today we are going to be getting into some updates in the Lowell suit where Stuttering John is suing Carl and Julie over the right of publicity, as well as a big, huge deep dive into some other stuff relating to that lawsuit. And we are going to be ranking some of the absolute worst moments that Stuttering John has had over his wonderful, wonderful career. But I cannot talk about the lawsuit without one of the most incredible people, one of the newcomers to our little Dabbleverse here. Of course, that is Miss Judy, the lawyer. Hi, Miss Judy.
Hi.
How are
Lucy.
you?
Oh, I'm fine. It's great to see you.
It's great seeing you. I'm so excited to have you back on.
Sure. Yeah, I'm so sorry our special guest isn't here yet, so we just have to wing it.
I am hoping that we will be joined by Sheet Shitterson soon, but the advantage of us being here together is that we get to have a little bit of ladies' time and we get to talk all about the lawsuit, which I'm so excited about because you recently did a great stream with Professor Joe all about the lawsuit, and you did an incredible amount of research, I believe. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty good for a YouTube show. Yeah.
Exactly. And we are going to talk about all of the new stuff that's going on. And because you and Professor Joe had so much to talk about, you guys didn't get to a lot of stuff. And you have done even more research at this point.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I just sent you one of the cases. So if you can pull it up and just read some of the highlighted stuff, because once again, my voice is totally dying and deteriorating. But what I did do is I went through John's attorney's response brief to the motion to dismiss. And I took a look at a few of the cases that he cited, which supposedly supported his stance on using John's name or
and
photograph.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, I'm not sure if I can show stuff. Do I have the ability?
You should be able to. While you're working on that and I'm getting this document pulled up, let me catch everybody else up.
Okay.
Let's kind of give everybody a little bit of a background. I am going to be able to pull that up for you. So that is good right there. Yeah. But let's talk again about where we are in the Lowell suit at this point, because there's so much going on with it. I feel like it changes every day, even though, you know, it's been a little bit quiet lately. There are going to be a lot of changes coming up soon. So let's talk about where we are. We are at this point where Stuttering John Melendez filed a complaint on August 7th, 2025 against Carl and Shuli, who of course are two podcasters. And John alleges that they violated his right of publicity by using his likeness without his permission. The complaint immediately gets amended. Service gets completed on that complaint. And then the defendants, Carl and Shuli, filed two motions, one of which is a request for a dismissal of the complaint, including a request for fees and costs based on anti-SLAPP, which basically means this lawsuit was a waste of everybody's time. We should not have done it. And so because of that, we shouldn't be penalized by having to spend our own money trying to defend it. The other motion that they filed was requesting a change of venue from New York County to Monroe County courts. And at this point, plaintiff Stuttering John and his attorneys Tabor Benedict and Bennett Susser opposed those motions after doing a lot of fumbling, which of course we have talked about in great detail. And just a couple of weeks ago, the court ruled on the motion to change venue and granted it, which basically means a win for Carl and Shuli. So that means that the court case has officially moved to Monroe County as opposed to Manhattan, where it was previously venued, which is very, very exciting. There is an update relating to those Monroe County filings that I am really excited to talk about a little bit. But I'm going to pull up what you have here, and why don't you catch us up on all the research you've been doing?
Okay, sure. So, let's see. A few of the cases, the first one that he cited to is Brinkley versus Casablancas, which has to do with Christy Brinkley. You guys may recall her. She was a top model back in 1980 or something. So this is a 1981 case, but it's totally different from this situation involving John, because that case had to do with a company selling posters of her. So of course, that sounds intrinsically illegal to, sell posters of someone without their permission and profit off of that. So that's one case he cited. The second case was the Adrian versus Unterman 1952 case. So it's kind of sad when you're digging way back to 1950, citing these ancient cases. But once again, this case also didn't have to do with what John is alleging. Instead, that had to do with a famous dress designer who had his name used on some sort of perfume without his permission. So that's pretty blatant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me pull up, Miss Judy, you want me to pull up the document that you emailed to me and read off a little bit of that?
Yeah. Go ahead. Take over.
All right. Let's see here. We are pulling this up. Let me add that here. All right, let's take a peek into this. So, Miss Judy, did you want me to read specific sections of this?
Yeah, maybe just a beginning. I mean, you have such a good voice, so feel free to just pick and choose.
You stop it, you.
No, I mean, it totally sucks to have a vocal problem, so sorry about that.
You are great. Everybody adores you, especially me.
Okay,
so is this case one of the cases? This is the Snapple Beverage Corporation and Turner Broadcasting System as defendants. And the plaintiff, it looks like, is Joseph Robinson, yes, Henry Jackson, and Michael Wright. So is this one of the cases that Tabor cited in his opposition?
Nope. No. I actually sort of helped by, doing some shepherdizing. That's what they call it when you check up on an old case to see if it's been cited or if it's been overturned. So this kind of just popped up when I was checking on that Brinkley case, and it said that this distinguished the Brinkley case. So once again, things are so fact specific, so you can see in this background what kind of case it is.
Yeah, so this says, pursuant to a written agreement with Swatch, a non-party to this action, the plaintiffs agreed to perform at it's Sugar Hill Gang. obviously.
we know
Okay, so the
that.
plaintiff is a member of the rap group Sugar Hill Gang, and they claim that the defendant, Snapple, and Turner Broadcasting System wrongfully used their images and voices for advertising purposes in violation of Section 51, which is exactly the same statute that is being discussed in Stuttering John's case against Carl and Shuley. And we are going to get to find out a little bit about that. So it sounds like the plaintiffs agreed to perform in 1998 at a Swatch event, and the party was a promotion for the Goodwill Games, which was later televised in 1998. And Snapple, like Swatch, was a sponsor of the games. According to the defendants, the games are like a mini Olympics. Does anybody remember this? I don't remember this at all. Miss Judy,
I don't remember it, but I definitely know this group. And Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, absolutely. So the purpose of this was to, quote, benefit children through financial contributions, community service, fitness, and participation in sports. At the Swatch party, James McDonald, TBS's marketing manager, requested that the plaintiffs, in addition to performing as originally scheduled, sing a portion of their well-known song Rapper's Delight for inclusion in a short video promoting the games. However, the plaintiffs contend that they were told that the segment would be shown only on the evening of the closed-circuit TV monitors located at Studio 54. I'm going to guess that isn't what happened here. Is that correct?
Yeah. So a little clip of it was used without their permission for some sort of advertisement. So you could kind of like jump through towards the end. But I thought that was interesting to compare it to John's situation.
This is very similar, and what a great find. And again, more evidence of you doing a heck of a lot of research here. So I'm going to skip over to here.
But here the defendants lost. So, but you can distinguish it. You can go ahead and read that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this says public interest exemption. Defendants assert that they were protected by public interest exemption to Section 5051. Again, very similar to what's happening in John's case. That exemption applies only when a plaintiff's image or voice is used for trade purpose in conjunction with, quote, a report of newsworthy events or matters of public interest. While the games are certainly newsworthy and a matter of public interest, the vignette was, as noted above, is more than a report. It is clearly a solicitation of patronage for the games. The public interest exemption does not apply when somebody is, quote, an advertisement in disguise. Well, I'm sorry, when something is an advertisement in disguise. So here the court was unable to find a disguise. Will you translate that legal mumbo jumbo for everybody?
Okay. Well, I think one of the big arguments for Shuley and Carl is that they were using John's, whatever you call it, phone recording to provide commentary, to provide something that's newsworthy, which I agree with. Because, I mean, sure, some people would say that's not newsworthy, but that's a judgment call. I mean, this was clearly something that people wanted to discuss. And we're all sucked into the Dabbleverse. Yeah.
You have gone from knowing nothing to being one of the most knowledgeable people about the Dabbleverse, I feel like. So you are the perfect example of that. It has become newsworthy to you, right?
Yeah, it's totally interesting. So, but here they're saying that it was more used for advertising purposes. So I think John's argument was that the defendants advertised by using his picture and advertising his phone calls. So that I'm not sure of. Is that true? Like what sorts of advertising was used?
So my recollection, I have not looked back into the advertisements. My recollection of the advertisements were very much that they were saying, you know, DabbleCon 2 and Dabble House. I don't remember ever seeing John's picture in there. I could be wrong about that. I haven't gone back and looked at it. I know that there's a lot of talk within the plaintiff, within John's paperwork, about people chanting the tapes and being excited about that, but that was at the event. So I don't know how much of that actually went into advertising. I recall seeing none of it, but again, it's been a minute since any of this happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So without seeing all the proof and stuff, I can't conclusively say so-and-so is going to win the case.
Yeah.
But that still made John upset anyway, because I didn't resoundingly say he was going to win. He has a great case. Carl and Julie should be quivering in their boots whatever.
Yeah. I know, they're done for.
Yeah. So, so I thought it was interesting to find some cases and see what are the facts specific to these cases, because every case is different. Not everything's going to be the same. But I thought it was interesting that his attorney was citing a bunch of really old cases that are totally different from his allegations. So there's also another case that his attorney cited, which was Roberts versus Condé Nast magazine. Oh my God, my voice is just totally failing here. So it's a 1955 case, but that involved a high school principal talking at a PTA meeting, and he happened to say something favorably about an article in House and Garden magazine. So the publisher then took his quote and put it on some sort of cards that were mailed as advertisements saying, look at this principal, he said this about some article. And so there, the court did find that the magazine shouldn't have used his quote to help sell magazines. But, there are certainly different.
Yeah, there are certainly many valid cases for this. I think that the challenge with Stuttering John's lawsuit, of course, is that he veers off the track so frequently. Do you think it's a little bit peculiar? So you just kind of explained this, and you said without seeing the evidence of, if John was actually used in the advertising, you said, how can I possibly think one way or the other if people are going to win or not?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think that would be something that his attorneys would have already included in their opposition, or maybe even in their initial complaint?
Yeah, perhaps. I also thought it was kind of weird that they started going into Florida law. So you're not in court in Florida. If you wanted Florida law, why didn't you sue in Florida then? So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, there's so much bopping back and forth between the New York law and the Florida law, and this is this and this is this, and it's very confusing to read. And you and Professor Joe started talking about that a little bit. You guys, because you covered so much stuff, hardly even got into like the meat and potatoes of the lawsuit, because it's a challenging lawsuit to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, people complained. They said we got derailed by the comments in the chat and talking about other things. So.
You tell them to shut up. I thought you guys did a wonderful job. It was really informative and interesting to me. Again, I did mention that there is an update to the lawsuit. So we all know that it has been moved from Manhattan to Monroe counties, which is really, really exciting. I am excited to talk about what that update is, because I think it is a little bit peculiar. So maybe to give your voice a little bit of a break, I will move into that right now, and we will talk about that. I don't know if you've seen this or not yet, but we just had a request for judicial intervention filed within Monroe County. So this is officially moved to Monroe County. Mm-hmm. Now, I have talked a lot about requests for judicial intervention in the past, but let me just kind of break down exactly what that is. This is typically used to get a judge assigned to a court case. So it is doing exactly what it says it's doing. It is requesting judicial intervention. Until this document gets filed, we aren't going to have the courts looking at the case. And so this is a very, very important document. Now, we previously had a request for judicial intervention filed within the Manhattan courts. However, now that this is in Monroe, we need to put it on the docket in Monroe. So that is exactly why we have this document. That is exactly why this exists. But what I think is very odd about this specific RJI is that usually the plaintiff, so John and his attorneys, Tabor and Susser, would be the ones filing an RJI. However, they did not in this case. This RJI was actually filed by Danny Ceballos, who is Carl and Shuli's attorney.
Yeah.
I don't see that very frequently. Is that something that you've seen before?
No, usually it's up to the plaintiff's attorney to kind of drive the case. But if they're just dropping the ball, then the defense attorneys typically jump in. Yeah, I've had that happen. It's very annoying.
Yeah, I think that this is what I would call an offensive move by the defense, is kind of how I would describe this. This is Danny, Carl and Shuli's attorneys saying, hey, you guys haven't done this yet, and we are ready for the court to look at this. To me, that speaks volumes, because it seems like Danny and therefore Carl and Shuli are probably really confident about what they are doing.
Yeah.
Oh, they want this in front of the judge. They want the judge looking at this immediately. They don't want to drag this lawsuit on anymore. And they were bored of waiting for Tabber and Susser to file this document. So they said, you know what? We're doing it now. We're doing it now.
And also, did you see any sort of formal motion to withdraw from Tabber?
No. So that is a great, that is
So
a
that
great
again
segue.
shows flakiness, because I don't know the procedure there, but where I've practiced, you can't just stop working on
Exactly.
the case.
Yeah, you are completely correct. Tabber and Susser are still currently John's two attorneys of record. Now, there have been a lot of rumors about these two dipping out because they're not willing to take his case on contingency. They don't want to have to travel all the way to Rochester, which is really far away from Manhattan. There's been all of this talk about them being gone. They are not officially gone. They are still technically both his attorneys, but we haven't seen a peep from either of them in a really long time, which is especially peculiar for Tabber, who has filed like 50 documents in this lawsuit. And he was filing day after day after day after day. Every single day he was filing a new document. So why isn't he filing anymore? It's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's a little
I
weird.
mean, do you think he's still, boozing it up sometimes or something? I mean, sorry to
I
make
hope
fun of the guy, but he seems pretty wacky.
for all the bicyclists in the world, I hope that he is not boozing it up anymore.
Yeah.
It's very odd to me that we haven't heard a peep out of either of them in such a long time. And again, I think that this RJI being filed by the defense is really saying, hey, we're ready. And I think it's also really saying that, hey, Tabber and Susser are not. I am curious to see what this happens. So let me just explain a little bit about Monroe County and kind of how that works. Because again, Miss Judy, even though you are an attorney, you don't practice in New York State.
That's right.
I am just a paralegal, but I do work at a law firm that is within New York State. So procedurally, what we can expect to happen next is that now that this RJI has been filed, the court will start putting this onto their docket. So we should expect to see a court date get scheduled relatively soon. We should expect to see a judge get assigned. I am excited to see who that judge is going to be. I'm curious. I am really, really excited about all of that. And because Monroe County is less inundated than the courts in New York County and Manhattan, I think we can expect this to happen pretty darn soon. I think that this is going to be like within the next couple of weeks, we'll get a date scheduled, and that date will probably be within 2-ish months.
Are those hearings open to the public? Like
They typically are.
online also?
I don't know if we ever do online stuff here. I'll be honest with you. I have not seen that, but I also have never worked at a law firm that handles torts cases. And so, of course, this is going to be a torts case. I presume that it is based on the judge. So I have a sneaking suspicion that each judge sets their own court rules, and that depending on which judge they get assigned, that will tell us if we are going to be able to all watch this live or if everybody's going to have to come to Rochester. Right?
Oh, yeah. If it's live, then you definitely have to tell us. So
I know,
we
right?
can all tune in. It's like must-watch court proceeding. So
It is, but can you imagine? It is going to be more exciting than all the Aaron Imholt stuff. So I'm excited to see what happens. And again, I think we're going to find out that information relatively soon. I know that John in the past was a little bit worried about this lawsuit coming to Rochester because us Rochesterians are so dumb that we don't understand how celebrity status works.
Oh, okay. Well, the law is the law in the state, so
Exactly. Exactly. But not only that, he should want us to not understand how celebrities work, because for the purposes of this lawsuit, part of his argument is that he is not newsworthy. And so he shouldn't want to be a celebrity in this lawsuit. If he's not a celebrity, then it's not newsworthy, and he has a better argument. So he should think that that is a favorable, I would think that he would think that that was a favorable thing for him. He doesn't seem to think that way. And what am I? I'm just a dumb paralegal. How could I possibly know?
Well, are you familiar with those judges?
I'm familiar with some of the judges in Rochester. I'm not familiar with all of them. So I definitely, once a judge gets assigned, I will surely have thoughts about that.
Do some
I can't
research.
imagine that I wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It'll be really cool. All right,
What
let's hit a
happened
book
to
up.
Sheet? Sheet stood us up.
He
Dude.
stood us up. He stood us up.
know.
I'm guessing that he's having some problems. That's totally okay. Hopefully he will join us again soon. But that is absolutely okay if he ended up getting busy and couldn't end up joining us, because again, we're still going to do some rankings. I was hoping to have Sheet help us with them, because he is one of the most knowledgeable people in the entire Dabbleverse. But I think that you and I can handle it together, and we're going to have fun. We're going to rank the most deplorable of all of John's actions, because I found a really fun list and I got excited about it. And you and I both like evidence. We're both evidence-based.
Sure.
So we're going to have some evidence based on some of these things that he has done. So I'm going to...
Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
But when do you want to address the super chats? Because Vince is all about acknowledging that.
I was literally just about to do them. Perfect timing.
Great.
You know, it's so funny. You love that, and I know that that is a good inspiration from Vince for you. I was thinking about Blind Mike was actually just talking about super chats this past weekend. Do you watch Blind Mike at all?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about his kind of opinion on them, and he takes exactly the opposite stance. He's like, stop doing this. I just want to continue along. I want to continue along. There's probably a happy medium somewhere in there.
Yeah, there is. You just have to set some time to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, here's our first one. This one's from Woody from Syracuse. Hi, Woody. $10. Thank you so much. Hello, Kaylee. Welcome back from AC. Hello, Judy. Thank you for embracing our community. And to Sheet Chitterson, you are a Werner Herzog, as SJ is to Klaus Kinski. Looking forward to tomorrow's review. That is right. Tomorrow, Woody from Syracuse joined me to talk about the movie Showgirls. So that will be going up on my channel tomorrow. Not all the boobies in the world could save that movie, in my opinion, but you'll have to tune in for that tomorrow to see what we thought. And it is true. Unfortunately, Sheet's not here to hear the lovely compliment, but his documentaries are incredible. They are linked down below, and I highly recommend checking them out if you haven't seen them already. Florida 49er fan coming in with $2. Hi, Lucy and Judy. Hi, Florida 49er fan.
Thank you.
And coming in for another $2. Hi, Judy and Lucy.
Okay,
I love
thank
it.
you.
Credit where credit is due. Flipping around the names. Always beautiful. Labyrinth Mystic coming in for $10. Miss Judy, what is the hourly rate for you and Professor Joe? Just curious how much John owes you two for doing any research on this case for free, and then daring to call you both dumb fucks.
That just made me laugh, though, because it was so stupid. It's like, and then he said, I know I'm a better litigator than you, Miss Judy. And I'm like, do you have a law degree? It was hilarious. So anyway, but my hourly rate is actually kind of low for someone with my experience. It's $3.50 per hour. And Prof. Joe, I have no idea, because she was a law professor, so I don't think she typically charged people for consulting and stuff. Yeah.
Well, you are surely worth every penny of that and more. You should send John an invoice for all the research that you did. Let's pause for the super chats for 1 second. I want to just remind everybody some of John's ranting about you after you and Professor Joe did that.
But please, Miss Judy, do some research on writer publicity before you have. First of all, if I were to dissect the ridiculousness of your assessment of my lawsuit, it is so pathetic, Miss Judy, how little research you did.
We watched you do research live. You were literally doing research while you were streaming. It was amazing. You
Well,
did so much.
Can I add something else?
Yeah.
So several weeks ago, he happened to say that's only one case out of 50 cases or whatever. But he doesn't get it that if there's one recent case that is governing case law, that's the law. You don't just say, well, there's like 50 other cases. Well, who cares? What's the most recent? What is the latest,
Yeah. And most relevant
case,
also.
Yes. The cases
Absolutely.
that are relevant to this situation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's not a numbers game.
I do see that we are joined by a very special guest. Sheet Shitterson is here. Wonderful,
Yay.
Sheet. Welcome.
Hi, Judy.
Welcome. It's nice to meet you. What kind of mask is that? It's kind of scary.
Good.
Was that from Friday the 13th?
No, just something I need to protect myself from John from.
Okay, good idea, but
Yeah.
it's still kind of freaky looking. What's with people and their masks and costumes in the Dabbleverse? It seems like people like that stuff.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think this is it wouldn't be like this if it wasn't for John. John is constantly trying to dox people and get people in trouble, and so this is this is the result.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here. Great
Oh,
job.
no problem.
Yeah. Loved your documentaries.
Thank you.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about having the two of you here together is that you guys both have very different positions in the Dabbleverse, and yet are both so incredibly knowledgeable. So, of course, Miss Judy from AA Legal Focus is an attorney and is a relative newcomer, whereas Sheet, you have created like the Dabbleverse's greatest documentaries and are incredibly knowledgeable, which means that the two of you are coming from very different angles. So Sheet, you've been here for years. You've been documenting every twist and turn that has happened, every meltdown. And Miss Judy being newer means that she's getting to experience this madhouse with fresh eyes. So we are very soon going to get into ranking some of the absolute worst moments of Stuttering John. Sheet, we were just talking about the lawsuit. There have been a couple of updates. Have you followed the lawsuit as much as you have followed the rest of the Dabbleverse?
No, actually, I haven't. I was going to ask you guys, what is the latest? So I just got home from work, so I really haven't heard what you guys were talking about.
No worries.
What's going on?
Yeah,
with
so the latest is that the lawsuit has been moved from Manhattan to Rochester. So it is officially now venued in Rochester, New York, in Monroe County courts. And the court is probably very soon going to be scheduling a hearing for it. So we are going to finally get to see this going in front of a judge. I'm going to guess that that'll probably be within the next 2 months that we'll have a court date. So
2 months.
I know.
Wow.
It feels like it's going to be forever.
It does.
Oh, and didn't you guys hear John say that his attorney did quit, but he didn't want to say anything further? It seemed like he was kind of embarrassed about it.
This quitting stuff is so challenging for me. So they have to file something. And Miss Judy, you hit the nail on the head about that.
Yeah, you should.
It's not until they have filed something, I don't believe that they've quit. I will say also, now that this is venued in Monroe County as opposed to Manhattan, as opposed to New York County, the index number has changed. So if anybody is following along with the lawsuit, the new index number is e-filing. So E 2026 002928, if anybody is trying to keep tabs on it. In New York State, we have all e-filed documents, which means you can actually go look at this stuff all on your own, which is really cool because there's a lot of stuff to look at.
Yeah.
It's so much. So yeah, I think that the move to Monroe County is going to be really exciting. It's definitely going to be faster than it was in Manhattan, which is slightly better, right?
Yeah. I still haven't seen your affidavit, but was it redacted?
It was redacted. Yes. My last
Okay.
name was redacted in my affidavit. Similar to Sheet's mask, you know?
Oh, okay.
That's my
see.
preference. But stuff happens, right? I'm going to hit a couple more super chats and then we're going to get into our little game of ranking John's deplorable moments. So this is from Fiore for $5. Thank you so much. Oh, Kaylee, how my heart dances when seeing you. Thank you so much. We have Drunken Engineer coming in for $5. Evening, ladies. Any insight as to why NICEF says that the filing status for the case is currently listed as closed to e-filing? I absolutely can explain that. So because of the move to Monroe County, what had to happen was that the case in New York County had to close. That got closed. That is currently listed as disposed, which means that it is done for. Manhattan County no longer cares about this lawsuit at all. They will never look at it ever again. So they closed out all their stuff. What happened is that now that the index number has changed, again, that new index number is 2026-002928. Because that new index number exists, that is where you are going to be able to see things. That is on NICEF now. I have not checked eCourts, which is another one of the websites that we use in New York State. It is possible that it's not quite up on eCourts. Sometimes eCourts is a little bit behind, but that is exactly why it is listed as closed, is due to that change in venue. We got Jess coming in for $10. John drunkenly admitted on stream that Tabber dropped the case. Does that mean Susser, who is listed on a current document, can amend the complaint and fix the errors in case an argument?
No.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the answer is no. It's been filed already.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
The only option really at this point, unless they just wait for they currently have pending a motion to amend, which requests to add Kate Meany into the lawsuit. It requests to do all of these different things. If they succeed in any of that, then that would be good for them, I suppose. But the only other option would be to close out this lawsuit and start totally afresh. And I don't know that they could do that based on the statute of limitations. So Susser's going to have to pick up wherever Tabber left off, basically. All right, we got Michael P coming in with $5. Thank you so much. The green tea is flowing like Busch Light. Go Bills, Michael P. The amazing Michael
Thank
P.
you.
And Labyrinth Mystic, $5. Bless you for hanging in there, Miss Judy. I don't have the voice thing as bad, but I share in it. Lost an octave this year. Hope any cure or fix for you.
Okay.
Very
Thank you. That's why I keep sucking on lozenges. And people can joke all they want, but I have to keep sucking on things.
You poor thing. Us ladies hate that.
Yeah, it's like, where's my hard candy? I'm like an old lady. Yeah.
All right, we got Kinky Loco coming in. I got to hang out with Kinky Loco in AC this weekend, $2. Lucy, did Andy survive Saturday night? Hi, Judy. And then lots of little lovey-dovey emojis. Andy survived. He is alive and well, I believe. He made it to us leaving Atlantic City. I was shocked. Mark Turnquist for $5. So nice to hear Miss Judy without VTL, constantly ruining everything.
Oh, thank you.
Labyrinth Mystic coming in for $2. Your numbers would be higher if you were not competing with PDP. You know, sometimes timing doesn't always work out. We love them over there too. I'm sure they're having a blast. Nassau for $2. Miss Judy, your voice is as beautiful as you are.
Oh, thank you.
I couldn't agree with that more. And Raper Buck coming in for $2. Any predictions on SJ's thoughts of this analysis?
Well, he'll probably call both of us names and say that we're so ugly, we're a bunch of whores and stuff, and you know, same old. So, yeah, you didn't do your research.
No, Miss Judy didn't do any of her research. She literally was pulling up case law for us. Absolutely not. Why would she have ever done that?
I was curious. Do you think that there's a possibility they could ask me to testify since I'm the one that stole the couch cushions?
I don't think that's like an essential part of the case. So probably not, but you could talk to the defense attorneys. So you really did? You got the cushions?
I did.
How
I
did
didn't steal them. I took them from the
You
street.
took them from the trash.
Yes.
Yeah. Were they dirty?
Yes, they were dirty and they smelled They smelled terrible.
That sounds disgusting. And then, so did you use gloves to touch them?
I should have, but it was such a short notice type of thing that I didn't go prepared, and so I should have brought gloves. Once I got there, I regretted not bringing them. That's for sure.
Did you take like 5 showers afterwards?
You know what's funny is my truck, well, SUV, it stunk for a day after because I think it's not all John. The sprinklers or something got it moist, so the smell of the cushions being moist in the back of my SUV for the hour drive just made my truck reek for a day. It was gross.
Oh, so then how did you transport them to Rochester?
I shipped them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't take them physically?
No.
there?
I didn't go out to Rochester myself. I just shipped them out there.
That must have been pretty expensive, though.
It was, but it was worth it.
Well worth it.
Yeah.
Look at all that it's caused. Come on. It's amazing. And then we had to smell them in Rochester. It was horrible. It was horrible. Oh, it
sounds
was
gross.
not fun. It was
Yeah.
not fun.
So
Although I do have a picture of myself with them. So
Cool. Well, can you tell us something about yourself? Like, what do you do? Is this your, I mean,
Well, I'm not going to get too specific, but I'm a blue collar guy. So I work with my hands all day. I don't do like people ask me, oh, do you do documentaries for a living and stuff like that? No, I don't do that. It's just something I happen to do because someone was saying that there should be a documentary about John. So I was like, well, I'll just give it a try. And it worked out pretty well. So, yeah.
it's truly incredible what you did. I cannot imagine the hours that you put into it.
Yeah. It after a while, I always have to take a break after doing it because I can't watch John for that long because it's literally 4 to 5 hours a day just watching video of just him. And it's terrible after a while.
especially with all the just sitting around, you know, griping and yelling at people.
Yeah.
And burping and drinking. And yelling,
and drooling. And that brings us to a perfect point. So we are going to be talking about some of the worst things that John has done because Miss Judy, the last time that you were on with me, you were even newer to the Dabbleverse than you are right now. And there were a lot of people in the chat saying things to you about things that John had done. And you wanted evidence of those things. Which I think is a completely reasonable thing. You shouldn't just believe anybody on the internet because of whatever they're saying. That is a great way to kind of handle things. So I wanted Sheet here so that we can start giving you some evidence of some of the worst things. Now, of course, since then, you've learned a lot more about John. He has treated you like crap. He has done deplorable, horrible things to you. So the position has changed a little bit. But again, now that we have the two of you together, we get to look at things from both fresh eyes. We get to look at things both from spending 5 hours a day with John while creating documentaries. And I was very inspired by this wonderful list that was created by David R. Fuller. So this is a list of L's from Stuttering John Melendez, and you will notice that it is very small font. He created this about a year ago, and if you go to my YouTube description and you want to follow along with us and kind of look at some stuff, you can find it all the way at the bottom of the description. So go all the way down there. You can pull this up. This is an incredible, incredible, incredible list, and it inspired me to talk about some of the biggest rake steps that the rake stepper has ever stepped upon. It's going to be exciting. And because we have the two of you, I want to rank some of those items. So I have picked out a few of these things. Sheet, I know you have added a bonus item on that you sent to me. We're going to get into them. For many of them, we have video clips to actually show him doing these things. And I think it's going to be really exciting and fun. So we are going to rate each one of these things out of 5 skulls, because why wouldn't we? On how horrible it is. So 5 is going to be our most horrible, absolutely most horrible. And at the end of this episode, we will be able to determine what we think is the absolute worst thing that John has done. There's a lot. So everybody tell us the worst things because there's too many to include on one list, right? All right. We got our first thing that I have added to this list. We are going back in some time. So, Stuttering John mocked Artie Lang's quadriplegic father. This is quite some time ago. So, Miss Judy, are you familiar with this at all?
No, I didn't know this.
Are you familiar with Artie Lang?
He's a comedian that pretty much everyone liked, and he had lots of severe drug problems or tried to commit suicide, I think.
Yep,
Did he?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, and we will get into that actually in just a couple of items. So, Sheet, how familiar are you with this?
Oh, I'm very familiar with this.
I suspected as much.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play the clip of Stuttering John mocking Artie's quadriplegic father. This is going to be John does these low blows, I feel like. And he regularly says that he and Artie are friends. But if my friend spoke about my father in this way, I would be very, very upset about that. So let's check out the clip.
Are you really quoting Artie John's fucking Ready Whip camp? You mean the guy that tried to kill himself? There's a stable mind. Keep on giving me his quotes. Because it don't make a difference to me. He couldn't get over the fact that he was too hungover and he wasn't there to hold the ladder for his dad. His dad became a quadriplegic and ended up, what Artie says he thinks, killed himself, all because of Artie. So I'm not going to take anything Artie says about my issues seriously. Sorry, and I love Artie. But I ain't going to take it seriously.
Doesn't sound like love to me.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's John will find the thing that he thinks is going to hurt you the most, no matter how low it is, because that's what he wants to do. He really wants to hurt people. And it's unfortunate how low he goes with some of these insults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really is.
Well, I see in the chat people are saying that John is striking people, so he could strike us while we're doing this. Well, if it happens, right?
Yeah.
We can just challenge it.
We will cross our fingers because we are absolutely doing transformative content today. We are going to be talking about, again, we have clips for a lot of these things, but we are going to be transforming it as we do.
Yeah.
Sheet, do you want to add any more background to this mocking of Artie's quadriplegic father?
Well, yeah. So John's side of the story is that he, Artie was trashing him for months and months. And this is because what John says is because he was on heroin, and heroin made Artie a very terrible person. But the jokes that Artie was saying was not that bad at all. It was just making fun of maybe his stand-up, like, oh, that's silly, you're saying the same jokes over and over. Or he said that he looked like El Chapo. These are not like vicious jokes. And for him to go after him in a way like this, it just over the line.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time. What you heard in this video isn't the first time. He sent a tweet a while ago when Artie stabbed himself. And he said, hopefully next time you'll be successful.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
horrible. To
Yeah, it's
someone
very
who's
terrible.
already so depressed.
Right,
And has
exactly.
mental health problems.
And
Yeah.
again, it was over small jokes. I've listened to Opie and Anthony for years, and the way that the comedians on that show used to go after each other and joke with each other, like Rich Voss, he used to take it. I don't know if you ever if you know who Rich Voss is. He's a stand-up comedian, but he was like the target on the Opie and Anthony show. They would always make fun of him, and he never took it personally, like John takes when it comes to these small little jokes. And that's because Rich Voss is a professional comedian, and he doesn't want people. He wants to be able to say the jokes that he wants to say, so he allows other people to say their jokes. Do you see what I'm saying? It gives him the right to, kind of push a little bit. But John is quite the opposite. He doesn't want anybody pushing him whatsoever, but he will definitely step over the line, which is so hypocritical.
What I always say about real true comedians is that they know how to say things with a wink and a nod. You can say something deplorable and it can be funny because you're doing it with a ha ha ha. And John does not have that talent. So everything that he says just sounds absolutely horrible. It's mean spirited. There is a spirit about it that is completely different. So let's rank this. Again, we haven't seen any of the other categories. We are going into each topic with completely fresh eyes. What do you think, out of 5 skulls, how horrible is it that John was mocking Artie's quadriplegic father?
Well, and was the father deceased when he said this?
At this point, I believe that he was.
Yes, he was. He ended up dying from the injury, but this is years later, just from complications.
I would say 5.
You would say 5, Miss Judy?
In terms of real bad, 5 is real bad?
Yeah.
Or is it good to skull? I don't know. What's this ranking system?
Listen, I'm not good at ranking systems. We're having fun over here. It's fine. 5,
So
right?
5 in terms
Horrible.
of real bad.
Absolutely horrible. Sheet, what about you?
Yeah, I would definitely give this one a 5. What's funny is it's a 5, but there's things that John has done that has been a 6 then. If 5 is the highest you can go. But it just in the normal, if you're comparing it to the everyday person, I would think it's a 5. Compared to John, I would think it's a 4 in the things that he has done in the past. So
I think that this is a good, again, we get to see Miss Judy with her fresh eyes on this one. We get to see you, Sheet, with a little bit more discernibility because you have so much of the background. Sheet, I would love it if you tell us, comparatively knowing everything that you know about John, what your rankings are going to be. So you think this one would be a 4?
Yeah.
Great.
I would think this is a 4.
This one's a hard one for me because on the one hand, John claims that him and Artie are super close and wonderful and everything is great. And then he goes and treats his friend this way. And that's just disgusting. And again, I think John thinks he's doing it with a wink and a nod. It's not a wink and a nod at all. So I think I am going to go with Sheet on this one and give it a 4. All right, let's see what our next category is going to be for horrible things that John has done. Telling Quadfather that he is in a wheelchair prison. Now, we are going to have to do some background on this one, of course. So this all started relating to Dr. Steve. Would you, Sheet, like to describe a little bit of what happened leading up to this incident?
So this one, I believe, was Dr. Steve went to a Who Are These Podcasts event, and he just happened to wear a T-shirt that said, I think, Dabblers Anonymous on it.
Yep.
And it was, to be honest with you, it wasn't even that bad. It just said Dabblers Anonymous, and it had John's picture on it. So it wasn't, I wouldn't say really trashing John. But do you know who Quad is, Judy?
He's some guy on YouTube who did he fall out of a tree or something and became a quadriplegic? And
yes.
he also allegedly he showed stuff on the show that shouldn't have been shown, right? I don't think I can say that.
That was in response. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so Quad, initially, I think that he became John's co-host. He got on John's show just for exposure, because to be honest with you, if you look at their personalities and their beliefs, Quad is a very conservative guy, doesn't like the whole liberals thing, and John is quite the opposite. So for them to be friends, it just seemed kind of like a weird mix. Not saying that liberals and conservatives can't be friends, but it was just kind of weird for them to be friends. But I think eventually Quad did start liking John a little bit. That's just from my point of view. But once John attacked Dr. Steve, Quad decided to bomb John on his show. So he did show some nudity on the show, and that's where John attacked Quad after that.
Now, I would like to talk about, because again, we're going to kind of tie two things together here. The way that John attacked Dr. Steve, who is, by the way, the nicest guy in the entire Dabbleverse, the way that John attacked him was that John became fixated on a gag that Dr. Steve participated in at Hackamania, where Dr. Steve performed a prostate exam on Rocco.
Yeah, I heard about that. That sounds hilarious.
Let me tell you, I'm just going to say right now, the best part of that exam was when Dr. Steve pulled about 20 scarves out of Rocco's butt because of magic. It was wonderful. It was hilarious. And also, I want to also point out the Dabbleverse is composed of a certain demographic, which is men who are in their, 30s, 40s, 50s, and you should all be getting your prostates checked. This exam, this segment was a public service announcement, and it should have been revered, not used to get back at the nicest guy in all of the Dabbleverse, maybe even in all of the universe. John used it to try to get Dr. Steve's medical license stripped from him. So let's check out the clip of John going, ballistic is really not the right word, but being an asshole.
Steve, I need Dr. Steve's last name, please. If anybody can get me Dr. Steve's last name, I will send you a signed t-shirt. I need Dr. Steve's last name for a very important reason. He has done something that is not very good for his practice. So please get me his last name. Well, I'll just say this. I mean, you can't practice medicine in a different state.
Again, pulling scarves from a butthole behind a screen, not practicing
with
medicine.
A puppet.
Yeah, with a puppet, but not even a little bit.
So if he's in the state of Nevada and he performed a prostate exam, well,
this is the problem that I have with John. Is he's constantly claiming that he's a stand-up comedian, a very funny guy. When it comes to this kind of stuff, Steve basically just made a joke. And a comedian, you would think, would respond with maybe a joke.
Yep.
But John is going after this guy's job and his license. And that's what makes John such a shitty person. If you're a funny person, you can just make a joke back at him. You don't need to go after his license. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Plus, the fake prostate exam, that wasn't even making fun of him. It was just for a gag to make people laugh. So
it had nothing to do with John whatsoever. That was just his way of getting back at Dr. Steve. And you said it perfectly earlier. John tries to get back at people with the thing that he thinks that they love the most. And that is what so many of his actions are. We get to see that all the time. And this leads us actually perfectly into our next category. We haven't even rated this one. We should rate it. I'm doing great at this. I planned so well today, you guys. All right. So what do we think about, out of our 5 skulls, how horrible is it? I'm doing really good. Let's listen to John saying that Quadfather was in a wheelchair prison. We didn't even listen to that. I am doing so good right now. This was his response. So Miss Judy, as you pointed out, after John started going against Dr. Steve, Quadfather got frustrated with him, said, I'm not doing this anymore. And Quad went on to John's show and bombed him. And that was the end of that until now, I guess. It's hard to keep track of who's friends with who's these days. This is a clip from the wonderful Baloney Factory, who is one of course, the original animators within our little Dabbleverse community, where John is saying that Quadfather is in a wheelchair prison.
You will always be in a fucking wheelchair because you're an idiot. You dumb piece of shit. Enjoy life in a cage. Enjoy life in your fucking wheelchair prison. And don't worry, Quad. Don't worry. You don't cross the Duke. Everybody knows that. Why are you attacking Dr. Steve? That guy took part in attacking me.
I missed those Baloney Factory videos. They are absolutely incredible. The pauses are everything in those. Absolutely amazing. All right, let's do 2 separate rankings actually for these ones, because I figured out how I muddled myself up here a little bit. So I want to hear, out of 5 skulls, 5 being the absolute worst, how deplorable it was that Stuttering John tried to get Dr. Steve's medical license revoked. Miss Judy?
I would say 4, probably because the medical board probably quickly dismissed the complaint. So nothing really affected Dr. Steve, as far as I know. I'm just guessing.
You don't think that the action of him trying to do that is so horrible that...
It is horrible, but compared to, trying to stick a knife in somebody who's already tried to commit suicide that has severe depression or something, that's a lot worse to me.
I can see that argument. Sheet, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with Judy. This is right under what he did to Artie. I really feel like Steve probably never really did have his license really threatened, because it seems silly. But him actually doing it is pretty shitty. It's really shitty to go after somebody's job for just honestly a T-shirt. Come on, it's ridiculous.
That's part of it too. Is a T-shirt? That was what sparked all of this? That's crazy. It's crazy. So what would you rank it, Sheet?
Yeah, it would be like at a 3.9.
All right, 3.9, perfect. I am going a 5 on this one. I think that this is horrible. I think that messing with people's livelihoods, that really trying to take something away from Dr. Steve that he has built, weird medicine is incredible, but he is a practicing doctor. He helps people all the time. So to try to get his medical license taken away might have actually hurt other people, because Dr. Steve would no longer be able to practice. And that to me is extremely, extremely tragic. So I am going with a full-on 5 on this one. I think that is disgusting. I cannot support it. And again, Dr. Steve is one of the nicest people in the world. We are going to move into our next category. I don't have any video clips for this one because they are incredibly hard to find. But I will tell you that it is also related to getting somebody's job taken away. However, somebody who people like a lot less than Dr. Steve. That's right. Stuttering John tried to get Carl's Patreon taken down. Sheet, you want to give us the background on this one?
Yeah, so Carl just wanted to review John's book, and he was reviewing it in chapters, I believe, his audiobook. And John just didn't like it. He couldn't take the joke that, Carl was making fun of his book and how silly it was. So John started striking Carl to get his Patreon taken away, basically.
So my recollection of it is that the way that John started doing that is that the Patreon was somehow connected to Carl's Discord, and Stuttering John went to Patreon and said, there is some naughty language on this Discord. Do you guys want that to be affiliated with you? That's a lot of actions to take just because somebody was goofing on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, this was Carl's livelihood. So this kind of falls into that very similar category to Dr. Steve's medical license. However, obviously, Carl is not a physician. So I think based on that, the ratings might be a little bit different than we were looking at for Dr. Steve's medical license. Miss Judy, do you want to give me some thoughts on John
3?
Trying to get Carl's Patreon taken down?
Maybe 3 then. But did someone actually put the whole text of his book somewhere on a website?
No, so that's what John claimed. So initially, John said that there was a MP3 of the book put up, and it wasn't transformative or anything like that. This is what John claimed, but there was actually never any proof of this ever happening. And to be honest with you, there would be no reason for Carl to do that. I don't even see what the reason would be to put that up there like that. So John has never showed proof. He said that he showed other people. He said that he sent an email to the publisher, and the publisher saw the MP3, but he's never shown proof of that. He could have showed everybody an email saying, "Oh, look, this is the reply that my publisher said that he did see the MP3 and he thinks it's horrible." He never showed any kind of proof. Plus, if you watched part 2 of my documentary, before he claimed that, he also contradicted that claim by saying that he never did see it. He might have been fooled by somebody. It was just a screen cap of an MP3 and he never clicked on it. So his story has changed back and forth from he's clicked on it and he hasn't clicked on it. So it seems like a lie.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem accurate. Miss Judy, does that change your ranking of 3 at all?
Well, I mean, it depends on how big of a business this was for Carl. I have no idea how much people make on Patreon. So
I believe so. This and she, maybe you remember the timeline a little bit better than I do, but my recollection of this time frame was that Carl had quit his day job and this was a full-time job for him. So this is effectively taking away Carl's livelihood if this was happening. And at the time, I don't think that Carl was doing quite as much on YouTube. So now he's more focused on that. I don't even know if Carl at the time that this happened actually was using video. He might have been entirely an audio podcast at this point, which would have meant that Patreon would have been probably the -- 1 source of income.
Yeah, absolutely. I do remember at this time, Patreon was his #1 source. And he wasn't, I think you're correct. He wasn't doing the video podcast at the time. So, yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
maybe
to
I'd
me,
say
that's a pretty
4.
big deal.
Yeah.
A 4?
I'd say 4.
Great. Which was the same as you did for Dr. Steve's medical license. What about you, Sheet? On a scale of 1 to 5, how are we feeling about trying to get Carl's Patreon taken down?
I think it's right about the same with Dr. Steve. It's a 3.9 to a 4. You shouldn't be going after people's jobs, that's for sure. It's why I'm wearing my mask. I don't want him going after my job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I do things. Miss Judy, you were asking about my affidavit within the Lowell suit. Yes, I did redact my last name on that because we don't want to get messed with in real life. And, you know, when we put ourselves on the internet, sometimes that happens and it's a risk that happens. But, you know, it's should be our choices to release our personal information. And John sometimes takes that away. I think I am going to rate Carl's Patreon takedown. So I rated Dr. Steve's medical license at a 5. I think that I'm going to put this at a 4. And again, part of my reasoning for that is going to be that Dr. Steve losing his medical license, even though there was probably no real threat to it, that could have also impacted a lot of other people who might have been clients of his. And Dr. Steve really does help people. Carl, I'm sure everybody knows all about helping people. That's what he does for a living. But, you know, we forgot to rank Quadfather saying that, I'm sorry, John saying that Quadfather is in a wheelchair prison. So this was just a flat out insult that we now laugh about all the time. To me, that means it's a little bit less horrible, but it's still not a great thing to do to make fun of a quadriplegic, especially after mocking Artie's father for being a quadriplegic. So, Miss Judy, we'll step back a little bit. And what do you think about John saying that Quadfather's in a wheelchair prison?
To John's defense,
Yes.
I mean, showing the corn on someone's live stream is just a horrible thing to do because you want to ruin their whole live stream and then that cut off his stream of revenue. So John was responding to that horrible thing being done to him. So I would rate it like a 4.
I don't disagree with you. I certainly think it was a response, and I don't always agree with the first blood argument, but I think this one might be a sticks and stones. Yeah, I think this one might be a sticks and stones. Sheet, what about you for this one?
Yeah, I completely agree with Judy. If we're gonna, can't be hypocritical and say, oh, it's shitty for John to try to go after other people's jobs while Quad does the same thing, and then we not, hold him accountable for the same thing. But to be honest with you, me personally, I would never just say that, the wheelchair prison thing. I feel like there's so many other things you could say. But I still think it's a 4.
I actually rate this one really low. Again, this one's kind of a sticks and stones to me. We all say crap on the internet, and we've all laughed about this one a fair amount. So I think that out of 5, I would rate this on the horrible scale just a 3. I don't think it's that bad. It's not a nice thing to say. And he didn't say it in a funny way. If he had said it in a funny way where it was a joke and we were, leaning into that and we're all joking back and forth, maybe it might have been something, but It's definitely not nice. So next up, we are going to be talking about Kate Meany's treatment, the way that John has treated Kate Meany, and I think women in general, although we will get into another woman in the Dabbleverse. Miss Judy, you have had a lot of interactions with John. They started out good, they went to bad. I don't actually know where your guys' friendship is right now. Will you
There
tell
was
us all
no
about that?
friendship.
All right.
It was just, I mean, I guess people could say it was a work or something. You know, it was supposed to create laughs and entertainment. But so I did hear some of these Kate Meany recordings, and it was pretty bizarre. And you were right. She did sound pretty goofy and weird too, kind of like giggling and laughing with him and stuff. So, yeah. And it's weird how John had this very patronizing tone of voice. Like he wanted to act like he was so superior to her and he was going to help her and show her the ropes and stuff. And then he starts talking about some job. Wasn't there something that had to do with making $30,000 or something? And I was like, that's nothing if you live in New York City. Why is he talking to her about getting something that makes 30K? So
she needed all the help. I think one of the first things, and she, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think one of the first things that he did that was really like that, like, I'm going to show you the ropes sort of thing, was sending her a ring light. And when she was not receptive, so she had bad lighting in her studio, she was doing little live recordings. And so he, out of the kindness of his heart, sent her a ring light, trying to help her with this horrible, horrible lighting. And she apparently was not that receptive to it. So because she wasn't that receptive, that was when he kind of started losing it on her. Is that right, Sheet?
Yeah, that is right. John is so transparent when he is hitting on a woman. I find it funny that he doesn't think that we can see that he's hitting on a woman. And that's exactly what he was doing. He was giving her the ring light to, get in close with her. So hopefully someday, he could get a date with her. So, one of the creepy, I don't know if you're going to be bringing this up, but, one creepy thing that he did do with this ring light, he told Stevie Lou that there was a camera attached to that ring light and he would drop in on it. And Kate Meany didn't know that there was a camera attached to that ring light. So he could look at the camera whenever he wanted to. So that's really creepy. Stevie Lou said, that's highly illegal. And then John, of course, took a step back and said, oh, I'm just joking. But when he was saying it, he wasn't saying it like it was a joke. He sounded like he was watching that video of her. So, yeah, really creepy.
Very, very, very creepy.
Yeah, and he was like 30-something years older than she was. Ugh. Yeah,
it's not
that
great.
is creepy.
And of course, when he got super upset at her, the way that he reacted is the same way, Judy, that he's been treating you lately, which is just yelling and screaming and saying horrible, horrible things about her, talking about her mom, all of this awful stuff. I'm going to play a clip of this. Sheet, I suspect that I did not find the worst of the worst, so you might have to hop in here and tell us some even more awful things that he said and did to Kate, to her mom, all of this crazy stuff. But let's check out this.
I'm not serious. I am serious. I am suing you. I'm suing Kate Meany, and I'm suing you, Rocco. You guys have gone too far. I've had enough. And I'm not going to let you guys sit around and bully me from afar. I'm not going to let some dumb 24-year-old high-priced escort drug addict get away with illegally recording me and giving those tapes out. And I just heard some more rumors about Kate Meany. Apparently she was in rehab. I don't know if it's true.
Now that I don't understand at all, because he literally just said she's a drug addict and then he wants to backtrack off of rehab. That should be like a thing to be proud of if that was accurate. I mean, of all the accusations that we're making here. I also love this because he's saying that he's going to sue both Kate and Rocco. Of course, we all now know that he ended up suing Carl and Shuli, and he's trying to add Kate to the lawsuit, so far unsuccessfully. All right, let's continue here.
Somebody said she said it twice. Twice. That she's in rehab. That she's been in rehab. But Marianne Holford should get her an intervention. And Marianne,
Of course, that is her mom. So now John is speaking directly to Kate Meany's mother.
I'm sure you're going to be paying for her attorney. I'm sure. But you're going to need one. I have not defamed your daughter. She's admitted to doing drugs. She's admitted to getting $20,000 for sex. That's a fact, Jack. She's admitted to having sex with Jeremy Piven in Arizona and in Florida. She told me, she told Chad. It has been corroborated. So you can try and think that.
What matter? What does that matter if he did or she did? She can sleep with whoever she wants to.
She absolutely can, but John loves to throw it back in people's faces when he perceives that they've wronged him, you know?
Right. And he loves to brag about the 250 women that he slept
or 300.
with. Or is it 300 now?
300.
But, you know, Kate sleeps with one celebrity and now she's a whore, apparently, you know? So, I don't know.
She's awful.
Okay. But once again, you know, let's try to be objective here. That was pretty mean of Kate Meany to be recording him, and he thought they were having private conversations. I'm sure there are people who are trying to hit on other people who would be so embarrassed if their private phone calls got revealed like that. That is humiliating.
It is.
Yeah.
It is humiliating, but I think that his actions after that were not great. Let's finish what he has to say here, and then we'll fill in some of the blanks.
And I'm defaming her. I'm not. I am just repeating what your whore daughter told me. And I was the one who was protecting her. You didn't listen to me. You didn't do what a mother should have done. Kate, you are scum. Total scum.
Now, again, Miss Judy, I agree with you. Let's try to be a little bit objective about that. Maybe being angry at Kate is okay, but saying to her mother, your whore daughter?
Yeah, and saying it in such a public way. You know, this is stuff you could say privately to people.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
And then he also ended up calling her mom, which was really ridiculous. Like, why would you call her mom? You're a 60-year-old man. You don't need to be calling other people's mothers. It's ridiculous.
And he called Shuli's father, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
To
do what? To try to humiliate Shuli?
He told on it. He basically told on him like two children would do. Like, I'm going to tell your dad. And John actually did it, which is just embarrassing.
Yeah. It was running to the teacher on the playground, I think, is the equivalent of what he did with Shuli.
Definitely a tacky thing to do. Yeah.
Very, very silly. So the treatment of Kate, of course, goes far beyond this, I think. And I'm going to be honest, I hear the rumor mill. You might be a little bit more up to date on what's actually factual versus what is not factual. We, of course, have heard that there is a lot of accusations that John had nudes of Kate and might have shared those. And I see that all the time, all over the places. I have not done the research into how accurate that is. Have you done that research?
I have. He did post some pictures. Now they did have they were blurred out of her nude, and he posted it on his Twitter. So that's pretty bad, to be honest with you. So, you know, shouldn't be doing that for sure.
No, absolutely not. And again, for treatment for what? And Miss Judy, you're right. I don't think that it was necessarily a good thing that she did to record those phone calls. I think that is mean-spirited in many ways. Maybe the moral compass is not so great on her either. But again, we don't have to do tit for tat, literally, in this situation. We don't have to do that. That's not the response of a grown man who's upset at a 24-year-old girl.
Yeah.
What did he do after? So he posted those. I have a recollection of him getting a little bit spooked and starting to realize that maybe he might be doing some revenge porn and backtracking on that as well. Was this another thing he backtracked on?
It was. He was trying to justify it by saying that she sent it out to other people as well. So it's not like she wasn't sharing it or something like that. I forget the exact excuse, but it was some way of twisting the way that it was distributed. So it wasn't really that bad what he did, which is ridiculous.
All right. So, Miss Judy, what do you think? Out of five being the most horrible, John's treatment of Kate Meany, and of course, now trying to add her to the lawsuit after saying how much he loved her and everything was incredible, and falling for it again and again. We've heard a lot about her. What do you think?
Yeah.
How horrible?
Well, I don't think he has any viable claims against her, but that's just my, superficial take on it. But she is young, and her reputation was at stake. I'm sure she was really embarrassed and stuff. So this stuff was put on Twitter, you said? Like blurry pictures of her being nude. So that's pretty horrible. I would say 5.
Yeah. What about you, Sheet?
Yeah, this is pretty bad. I would probably go like a 4.2. I didn't like the whole calling the mom, but the revenge porn thing is just, I think that's another level of disgusting. Because I don't know, it just seems uncalled for. So yeah, 4.2 for me.
We talk so much about John with doxing and things like that. He has doxed quite a few people. This is a whole other level of doxing. We're not just talking about people's names now. We're talking about their bodies. And that is an entirely different invasion of privacy. So I am going full out 5 on this one. I think that is just an absolutely, absolutely horrible thing to do to a person, especially when she didn't do great things, but she didn't do that horrible of things. I don't know. We are going to hit a few more super chats and then get back into more of the horrible, horrible, horrible things that John has done. Let's see here. I don't remember where we were. We were here. All apologies. It's Trucker Andy in the house. All apologies podcast, $2. Thank you so much. She has herpsiphades from that. I believe it. Is it true? Is it true?
What? From what?
I had to dip my hands in bleach from getting the couch cushions.
Couch cushions.
Okay.
Gross. Labrador Mystic coming in for $2. PDP got struck down. Miss Judy was keeping her eye on that. I am hoping that
I think that
gets resolved quickly.
Yeah.
That stinks. That absolutely stinks. JFK Head Chunk coming in for $2. PDP just got struck by this a-hole. Well, luckily, we are still going to be talking about all of the asshole-ish things that he does. And striking channels is not even on the list of the worst things that he does, which is crazy because it's a horrible thing to do. We have a Donald coming in. Ooh. Also for $5. Today's PDP is gone. Word is Ava is doing the striking. I don't know how anybody could prove that, but I have heard those rumors also. I know there was the one time where John was on stage at a time that somebody was getting struck from his channel. So that's something. Labyrinth Mystic coming in for another $5. Didn't realize Simulcast Lucy got most of my chats. We appreciate your input and happy to have you in the Dabbleverse, Miss Judy. I'm sure that is for you. You are a breath of fresh air. Yes.
Thanks.
Reverend Rage for $5. The problem with Shuli and TSN is that they go after mentally challenged and people with disabilities that are not roasting back. They go after civilians. Everybody gets their own opinion. That's the beautiful thing about this place. Polycule Pete, $2. Make this a monthly lineup. We love Lucy and Judy. Miss Judy, I love having you on. So.
Oh, thank you. It's fun.
JFK Head Chunk for $2. Judy, John is played out. Lucy is dragging you down.
I don't think so. That's not a nice thing to say. We're having a great time. So.
Lyndon coming in for $2. SJ doing any more cancer charity scams. That will be one of the things on our list. Miss Judy, are you familiar with that one?
I never heard of that.
We will be getting into that. I'm sure Sheet has a lot of knowledge on that one.
Okay.
Seth Martin for $5. Hi, Judy. I'm also a big fan of Mike Morse. He has 2 fans. It's incredible. What are some of your favorite Morse bits, and what comedy advice can you give to help John be more funny?
Oh, well, I'm so sorry, but I can't think of any favorite Morse bits because it was really his written material that he did for Cracked and Mad Magazine from, say, I don't know when it was, the 1990s. So I was so excited when I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, that's the guy who used to write for those magazines. So, sorry. So I don't know anything
it was an
about
exciting
his
moment.
stand-up. Yeah.
I was so
yeah.
excited. That was on PDP, and you were so excited to meet him, and he was elated that he actually had a fan for the first time ever. It was
Yeah.
great.
Cool.
Clyde coming in for $10. Kate didn't wake up one day and decide to record John. She rejected his advances and went after her before she recorded him. She just squashed it along enough to lead him on and record him. It seemed like it was a passion project, I will say that. Jess coming in for $5. You forgot SJ went back to Kate after the first set of tapes. Absolutely he did. He loved her. I think more than he ever did, in fact, despite her wronging him. Jay Sure for $10. This is for Miss Judy. I enjoy your content.
Thank you.
Everybody make sure that you are going over to AA Legal Focus on YouTube. Subscribe to Miss Judy if you haven't already, and also to Sheet Shitterson on YouTube. They are both linked down below in the description. And if you aren't subscribed to either of them, you should be fixing that right now because they're both great. All right. Let us get back into our list of horrible, horrible things that John has done, which, of course, there are too many for us to list in one episode. But our next up, of course, is shitting his pants. I didn't pull the clip for this. We've all seen it, right?
Well, so what is the skull ranking for? How horrible it is?
Yeah, how horrible it is.
Well, but that's horrible for him, not in general, in the grand scheme of things, right?
It was enjoyable for us. So this one, I suspect, is going to get a low ranking.
Yeah, I would just say
it's so
one.
fun.
And didn't he deny it? He said he didn't.
He got up. He made his little face. He got up. The camera went dark for about 4 minutes. He came back and he said, I blew up the toilet. I painted that thing brown. I was pooping everywhere. And then he came back and he was like, no, I didn't do that. That's not, obviously I wasn't pooping. I got a delivery and I was really embarrassed by it.
I would just say that's a 1 because it made lots of people laugh and, you know, we had more stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I have not stopped laughing about that. I'm with you, Miss Judy. I'm giving that one a 1. What about you, Sheet?
Yeah, I thought it was actually great. That's the funniest thing that John has done his entire time. So yeah,
In the middle of singing a song, trying to insult Carl. That's the best part about it. Is it's he got so excited. He got so.
The best part is when you see his hand reach back and cup his butt when he's walking away.
That's why we keep watching, right? Because he's unintentionally so funny. There are some parts that just make you roll with laughter.
Absolutely. We can't get enough. All right. Next up is the saga of Jenny Jingles' nudes.
I don't
now,
know about
Miss
this
Judy,
one.
you don't know about this
Yeah.
one. So you know Jenny Jingles, of course, is Carl's wife. And this might be the moment in the Dabbleverse that I hated John the most. I was really, really upset about this. So I'll give a little bit of background and Sheet. Maybe I'll have you fill in some blanks here. Effectively, what happened was John claimed that he had some nudes of Jenny Jingles. He said he was jerking off to him. He was having a grand old time with him. And really enjoying that, boasting about it. I think mostly with Vince the lawyer, actually, if I remember correctly. Sheet, maybe memory of that.
I think so.
Yeah. And so Carl, of course, talked about this on Who Are These Podcasts. And he said, you know, because at this point, John was saying, I'm going to leak all these photos. I'm going to show everybody these pictures. And so Carl went on Who Are These Podcasts and he said, you know, even threatening revenge porn is illegal and you probably shouldn't do that. So John started backtracking, as we have seen him do so many times in the past. And a part of that backtracking was also saying, well, she's hideously ugly and she's disgusting. And why would I ever do any of those things? And what an ugly, ugly woman. I hated that so much. What a disgusting thing to do to one of the most beautiful people that I know, who is so nice and so wonderful, just to get back at Carl. He starts doing these horrible things to Jenny Jingles. Sheet, what did I miss about that saga? Because again, a lot happened in it.
No, you pretty much nailed it. He was, the part of it too is that he was doing it in a way where it was like he was holding it for ransom. He wanted something in return. So even if he didn't want, or even if he didn't have these pictures, he was doing it in a way where it seemed like highly illegal. It's like, hey, I need you to stop doing this, or I am going to release these photos, which I think that makes it even more illegal, doesn't it? I'm not a lawyer, obviously.
It certainly adds a level of blackmail onto it.
Right.
And so that, I don't know any of the laws about any of that stuff, but I would suspect that it would add an additional layer to that horribleness.
Yeah. Well, first of all, do you think he really even had these nude pictures?
I do
No,
not.
because I don't
He was
think
just lying, right?
Yeah, he's lying.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so horrible because it doesn't seem like she's in public much from, I don't know, from what little I've seen. So to make fun of someone just because she's the person's spouse, that's pretty low.
It's very low. And again, to have done that like huge shift where he's saying, I am so into you that I'm pleasuring myself to you. And again, Miss Judy, you've kind of experienced that.
Yeah, well, not exactly, but yeah, that is kind of gross. And then he does a 180 and then calls her names and stuff and talks about how supposedly hideous she is and stuff. So
it's a pattern for him. He's doing that to Ashley Cummings right now. He was telling her how beautiful she was, and now that she turned on him, all of a sudden she's not that hot and she's over the hill and just all these terrible things. You know what I'm saying? It's a pattern.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, his treatment of women, and again, we kind of looked at that with Kate Meany also. At first, he was taking her under his wing, and they were so close, and he was so in love with her, and then, boom, she is horrible and awful and disgusting and a whore, and he has to tell her mother that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and to say it publicly and put stuff on Twitter too, that's pretty evil.
It's completely evil. But I don't think that those nudes ever existed. That is my theory anyway. I think that he was just being an asshole. Or maybe somebody tricked him into thinking that they were nudes of Jenny Jingles with, a fake face on a body, or who the heck knows.
It's happened before. He fell for Shuli nudes.
Yes, so. That's right. Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that either.
Yeah, somebody sent John pictures of a man who looked like Shuli. He just bald and he was bald with glasses basically, so he looked like Shuli, and he was nude. So John really thought they were nude photos, and he started posting them. But obviously with the everything like blurred out, or but yeah, he was posting it as if it was Shuli, and he thought he was getting over on him. It was hilarious.
Crazy. Well, I have to say, I think this has been mentioned before, but Vince was talking up my older sister who is single. And so,
oh yeah.
So I made some like AI generated pictures of a Taiwanese woman who was dressed up as an optometrist. And I was like, which one of these looks good? Because she's really in her 50s. But whenever I typed in Taiwanese woman in her 50s wearing an optometrist jacket, it turned up these like grandma looking Asian ladies. So finally I went down to, Taiwanese woman in her late 30s. And so I got these pictures and I texted them to Vince, and he showed them to John, or texted them. And I mean, I think he made some pictures himself, but John actually believed it. He thought those were really real pictures. And I think one of them was supposed to be of me and my sister wearing these like Chinese teapot outfits, with the little Mandarin collar, satin Chinesey pajamas in bed. And I was like, John believed it. He thought it was for real. It was all like fake AI pictures. And I'm sure he's going to be really mad when he hears this too. Those bunch of dumb fucks, I never liked her anyway.
I can't wait for the response to that. We know that John has fallen for a lot of stuff, but maybe you could tell Miss Judy a little bit about the Tim Dransky story.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So Tim Dransky, it was somebody who catfished John. It was just some guy who pretended to be this pretty woman, I think he made a dating profile. No, he did it on Twitter. It was Twitter. He made a profile on Twitter, and he knew he could bait John in by talking to John's friend. because John would look at the Twitter comments, and John started talking to this fake girl, and basically he was trying to get this fake girl to go to I think it was AC with him. But yeah, it was a guy. It was the guy that was trolling him the entire time. It was
an anagram.
Yes, it was an anagram for
the big revelation. Yes, the big revelation of this entire saga was that Tim Dransky was an anagram for my trans kid. I remembered that. Maybe I must remember this wrong. I trust your memory of the history of this much better than I do. I thought that it was somebody saying that was Cardiff Electric's real name.
Tim Dransky?
Yeah, when John was trying to dox Cardiff Electric all the time. I might remember that totally wrong.
I don't know. I don't remember that, to be honest with you.
Well, what was very clever about doing this, whoever ended up doing that and creating that fake name was very, very clever, because there were no Tim Dranskys on the internet at all. So it was completely like this. Nobody else could be messed with this trolling of John, and John bought it hook, line, and sinker. I am seeing in the chat that it was Cardiff. I'm going to say Cardiff because, again, that was my memory. This was so amazing because John kept saying, oh, I know Cardiff's real identity, and I'm going to dox him, and I'm going to tell everybody all this stuff about him. And John was going on his channel and saying, everybody has told me his real name. I know his real name. I'm going to dox it. And he did not know it. And it was just one guy fucking with John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think this is some people in the chat are saying, I think this is the same guy. He got John twice. So he catfished him and then also the name.
I believe that entirely. Yeah. He got him twice, just like Kate Meany got him twice, right? I don't think it's that hard to get John with things like this, right? Again, he's been so gullible. I showed earlier, I'm going to again pull this up. It's hard to see, but if you guys want to look at it in more detail, this is this incredible list from David R. Fuller. And this is a list from a year ago of all the L's that John has had. It is, of course, not complete, but again, so teeny tiny. It again is in the description all the way at the bottom. There's a lot of there's a lot of other things on here that are all about John getting, falling for things. So John fell for a fake producer Chris email exchange. John fell for a fake Kumia text. There's all of these different things on this list, and I would say a good third of them are John falling for things. That is a big part of his rake step in. This list is amazing, though. You guys should absolutely go check this out. Again, link in the description all the way at the bottom there.
Okay.
All right, so let's get back to Jenny Jingles' nudes, because who doesn't want that to be the topic at hand? We got to rate this again out of 5 on how horrible is it, 5 being the most horrible. Let's start with you. How horrible do you think it was for John to say that he really enjoyed Jen, threaten to release nudes of her, and then call her ugly?
This one feels higher to me just because I don't know Jenny, but I've just seen her, and she seems like she's really nice.
She is.
And
she's
so,
wonderful.
It's like a 4.2, 4.3 for me.
You got it. And Miss Judy, what about you?
I would say 5, because that is illegal from what I've read, to just threaten that. And once again, he's humiliating this person who doesn't seem to be a very public person.
Yeah.
So that's pretty mean.
It is a deplorable thing to do. So I'm going to go, actually, you know what? No, I am going to go with a 5. I'm going with Miss Judy on this one. I think that is absolutely, absolutely awful. Let's take a peek at a few more super chats, and then we'll get into our next topic. I'm going to pull this one up first because John Skimpy Halloween Hand is here for $2, and he says Jenny Jingles is probably the kindest person in the Dabbleverse. Fuck stuttering John. I could not agree more that she is one of the nicest people in our little universe here. She is amazing, and that was a shitty thing to do. Next up, we have I can never say names. $2. Don't forget the Tim Dransky saga. That was perfect timing, wasn't it? We just went over that. We got Labyrinth Mystic gifting 5 AA Legal Focus memberships. Wonderful. Everybody go subscribe over at AA Legal Focus for Miss Judy, and also, of course, at Sheet Shitterson for Sheet Shitterson. GMB for $5. Really enjoy your show. Thank you so much. And Rumpled Trenchcoat coming in for $5. For someone who keeps talking about karma getting his enemies, it is pretty funny that he pooped himself while singing an insult song about Carl. Oh, karma is a bitch. Brian Workman coming in for $10. I really appreciate the perspective each of you bring. Great panel. Even objectively, SJ is a buffoon. Mike Morris was an absolute killer in the serious roast days, and I've been a fan ever since. We should start counting his fans. 3 of them now.
Yeah.
Jay Sure also
great.
becoming a member over at AA Legal Focus, and
Thank you.
GMB becoming a member over at AA Legal Focus.
Thank you.
Nick the Fed coming in for $2. I think I want to see Judy's internet history.
Well, it's a lot of legal stuff.
It's doing all the research on the
And
lawsuit.
figure skating. Yeah, figure skating and pretty much legal stuff, work stuff.
Jess coming in for $5. If John had money, he'd be in the news for losing everything to an overseas something wife scam.
Wife scam. Yeah, I could see that if he had the money to lose.
He doesn't have the money. His contingency lawyers are dipping out on him. It's gonna go great. It's gonna go great. All right, our next topic at hand is going to be John mocking Artie Lang's suicide attempt. So we started talking about this a little bit in the beginning. I think that some of the worst things that John has done were way back in the day, and so we can't talk about his entire history without talking about things like this. We, of course, already talked about John mocking Artie's quadriplegic father. But this suicide attempt thing was, I think, even worse. So let's listen a little bit. This is going to be, John is going to be going on to Artie's podcast, the Artie Quitter podcast. And Artie makes a little bit of fun of John about John's movie, One Too Many. And John's response is quite extreme.
And it's a comedy romp for my life, and I have plenty of
comedy
stories.
romp.
It's a comedy romp.
Who wrote it? Mel Brooks.
It's like when you tried to kill yourself and fucking failed and fucking drank bleach.
What is that about?
Yeah, okay. How do you know? When
Yeah,
you
that was warranted.
Yeah, it was because you know what, Artie, like
I made fun of your joke, and you made fun of me trying to kill me.
yeah, well,
Completely horrible.
Yeah, that was in poor taste.
Yeah.
The slight insults resulting in that as a quote unquote joke afterwards. And again, with no wink, no nod, just really going for the jugular.
what the fuck? You seem to be okay with just trashing people
I'm
on a
fine.
regular basis,
How you-
but yet you can't take it when it comes the other way.
I'm
And I've-
taking it right now.
No, I've seen you get so angry when somebody says something bad about
I'm
you.
over
Should have came here by
No,
myself.
I've seen that happen.
Much better if I'd have been here by
I've
myself.
seen that happen. Artie. Like that's why I gotta
Well, let's move on from this ugliness.
no because I always
Let me get over it. Let's move on.
no I always treat you like I can't make too many jokes about you because
Well, I know you clearly you put on the kit gloves
no I do
with the suicide joke.
the
That wasn't even a joke.
the only reason why he got saved is because his mom was bringing food over for him.
John.
Jesus, whoa.
I mean, it's not even funny.
Oh yeah.
The only person laughing is John.
Yeah, these aren't even jokes. They're just statements. And that's what's terrible. Like there's no wit to them or anything. Because I've always been a defender of people who are trying to make jokes. I don't care what it's about. As
Yes.
long as it's coming from a place of being a joke. That's not coming from a place of being a joke. That is, I'm going to cut you with this. I want you to hurt. And that's why it's so shitty. It's terrible.
Of course, another big moment where he was really coming after Artie was something that you discussed quite a bit in part 1 of your documentary sheet, which was an appearance on the Artie and Anthony show where John came and joined, and John was just making jokes about heroin. And again, nobody is laughing along, and Anthony Cumia is trying to be like, whoa, you're really crossing a line. John has no concept of that. He's just being an asshole again and again and again. He's an asshole to the staff at the Artie and Anthony show. He's an asshole to Artie. He doesn't take any cues whatsoever. And you actually, she credited that as one of the main moments that brought John to where he is now.
Yeah, I think before, people when he was on the Howard Stern show, there was this atmosphere of everybody was being an ass to each other. So it didn't seem as bad. That's what I'm guessing. But when he started bringing it outside of the Howard Stern universe, and you could just tell this is part of his personality, he's very insecure, and that's why this is where it stems from. I think that's where people started turning on him and started hating him, and that's, I think, where the bubbling of the Dabbleverse began.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about that. I think the other two main moments that you cited as the bubbling over were WATP reviewing John's podcast, and then Chrissy Mayer offending him with her comment that he dabbled in comedy.
Yeah, I talked to Carl. I think it's not. Who's the guy that Carl was making fun of, but now is friends with? It's Danny, I think it is, or
there's definitely a couple. So I know Doug from Good Times, Great
Doug
Movies.
is one of them. Yeah.
I don't remember a Danny.
Or maybe, I don't know. Is there Masterson? Dick Masterson.
Dick Masterson. Yeah.
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 Him. There you go. Those two. They just took the jokes that Carl was doing, and they ran with it. Not even ran with it. They just took it, in stride, and now they're friends with Carl. This could have happened with John too. You know what I'm saying? Just taking these jokes in stride or ignoring it altogether, and none of this would have happened. But to be honest with you, this might even be the best thing for John, because if he didn't react to it right now, he would be literally, nobody would be talking about him. This is the only way he's going to get any kind of heat on the internet whatsoever.
Yeah, it's negative attention.
Yeah.
So, Miss Judy, you talked a little bit earlier about how you think that this, kind of making fun of anybody's suicide attempt is completely deplorable. Does that mean that you would rate this a 5 on the scale of worst to the worst?
I would still say 5. Yeah. It didn't seem like a joke, and just seemed very low and excessive as a response to his, whatever you call him, his friend. I don't know if they were really friends.
I don't know how they would call each other at any point in time. And what about you, Sheet?
Yeah, I'm going with a 5 on this one.
I'm also going with a 5. That might be up there. That is our first all 5s of How Horrible Is It? We are going to move into another topic, though, which, of course, is going to people's houses. John has showed up at quite a few people's houses. We got to see amazing security camera footage of him showing up at Patrick Melton's house. Do you want to fill Miss Judy in on that?
I haven't seen that. Is that somewhere on YouTube?
That, if you watch, I think it's DabbleCon 2.
Yep.
That's where they revealed that video. But it's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen in my life.
It is one of the funniest.
So
he doesn't say anything with a loudspeaker. He goes outside Melton's house to try to challenge him. And
he made it was a cross-country trip. This was when he was moving from LA out to Florida. He decided, since he's moving, he's going to stop on the way to all of his enemies' houses. So he stopped at Patrick Melton's house. He stopped at Rocco's house, and then he threatened to go to Anthony Cumia and Shuli's house, but I think he just got tired or something and decided to skip it, or he was scared. I'm not sure which one it was, but
I would be way more scared of Melton than anybody else. Melton is a giant.
But yeah, that's what that was. He was going there to get his revenge. And oh wait, I don't know if that was the same trip, but he stopped at KB's house too.
I was gonna say he went to KB's building also, right?
Yeah.
So
What was he going to do? Was he really going to challenge them to a physical fight?
Well, he was really implying that it was going to do that. But of course, YouTube's terms of service, he said it was going to be just boxing matches. But he would constantly do this thing.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, implying that he was going to beat him up. So,
But how did he get recorded?
that was security cams from his from Patrick Melton's house.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they also recorded it. What's his name? Beer Can Jerry recorded it on his cell phone from a different angle, so you might be able to see that video as well. It's pretty. I'm pretty sure it's all over Dabblers Anonymous. You'll be able
It
to find it.
definitely is.
Yeah.
I believe that clip is also on YouTube, so you guys can definitely go check that out. It is a hilarious video if you have never seen that before. I don't like the idea of going to people's houses because, again, this is the privacy. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about doxing. This is why Sheet is wearing his mask. We don't want to have our personal spaces invaded. It's similar to, the releasing of the Kate Meany nudes. It's similar to the threatening to release Jenny Jingles nudes. It is just a horrible thing to do, to invade something that somebody is not sharing. If people are sharing things on the internet, it's perfectly okay to talk about that and make commentary. It's challenging when they're not sharing it. And, again, that's a moral dilemma. That is very, very much a moral dilemma. So, Miss Judy, how would you feel if somebody showed up at your house with a loudspeaker and doing the say anything, asking you and challenging you to a fight? Are you fighting
Probably
them?
call the police.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
And plus, didn't he repeatedly say stuff about Shuli's kids? So
He did.
that's pretty creepy if true, which it sounds like it is true.
yeah.
Yeah, he definitely did say things about his kids. He was commenting on their physical appearance, which is just terrible because they're well underage. I think they were, I don't even know if they were in their teens or not at the time when he was doing that. So to mock children is pretty bad.
And again, it's the same thing. It's trying to get back at Shuli in the same way that he's using Jenny Jingles to get back at Carl.
Right.
He's attacking the things that people want to protect the most, that he thinks that they care about the most. And similar, going to somebody's house, you want to have the privacy of knowing that you're not getting invaded in your own home, even if you're a public figure. That's why celebrities live behind, gated fences and stuff. Of course, more recently, he's been talking a lot about Carl's house, both of them in Cape Coral, and Carl's shitty gas station, because Carl lives in filth and squalor over there.
Yeah. What is it, like 4 miles from a gas station or several miles? I have
Yeah.
2 gas stations within 0.7 miles of my house.
Miss Judy, I'm sorry to
pretty
report this
nice.
to you, but you're
But
very poor.
my house is a piece of junk, and I'm a broke, poor, down and out person.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's gas stations in the Hamptons too. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
and I don't know if you've ever seen the video of John's house in Canoga Park that I had posted, because
No.
when I went there to go get the couch cushions, I was kind of curious what the neighborhood was like, and it is terrible.
Oh.
There was tents. It's like a tent city. There was homeless people all over the place, trash all over the ground, and for him to even, it is what it is. If people can't afford, a nice neighborhood, they can't afford a nice neighborhood. But then for you to go on and mocking somebody just because they have a gas station down the street, it's like, dude, look at your old house, dude. It was terrible. It was.
Was that the roach infested apartment?
Yes.
Miss Judy, have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't. So how do you guys know so much? How long have you been invested in this stuff? Like the last 15 years?
Miss Judy, my response to that is look at how quickly you've picked it up and learned it. You are hitting the nail on the head on so many things all the time. You are killing it. You have made so much sense out of this complete nonsense. It's the same thing. Once you get sucked in, you can't stop, dang it. We love the Dabbleverse.
Yeah, it's
love it.
like looking at some sort of train wreck. You can't help but see, what's happening there.
Okay, so Sheet. How do you feel about people going to other people's houses? Where does that rank on the scale of awfulness?
Going to their houses, that's pretty bad. I'm going to give that like a 4.3.
You got it, Miss Judy.
The only 4.3 is because of the fighting. He wanted to actually fight somebody, and that's pretty bad to go do that.
Yeah,
That's
that is. I mean, that is borderline criminal too.
Yeah.
Or civil trespassing. So yeah, I would say 4 though, because it didn't seem like, who's that guy, Patrick? Patrick
Yeah.
wasn't home or he
That's correct.
wasn't scared. So,
Yeah,
but
Patrick.
it's still a creepy thing to do.
Yeah, I think from what everybody was saying that was there, they said that John planned it for when Patrick wasn't going to be home to show up to Patrick's house. So maybe John wasn't serious about actually fighting Patrick.
Okay, I say 4.
A 4. I'm gonna go with a 4.5 on this one. This is, I think, awful, especially because a lot of the people in the Dabbleverse have significant others, and maybe Patrick Melton wouldn't have been worried, but maybe somebody else who lives with him would have been. You know, I mean, it's and this is impacting now people who are not at all involved in this. You know, if somebody is not involved, they shouldn't be involved, and their house shouldn't feel uncomfortable. And you're making people who aren't involved feel uncomfortable, like they have to look around, like they have to be concerned that somebody's going to try to break in. That's a horrible way to live. All right, we are going to move on to our last thing. We do have one bonus one, but we are going to move on to what we alluded to earlier, which, Sheets, I would love it if you would take it away on the fake charity scam, which has so many layers to it. It is almost impossible to discuss. Do you want me to start it off?
Yeah, go ahead.
So there was a beloved chatter within the Dabbleverse, and her husband had cancer. And of course, chemotherapy is very expensive. So John said that he would donate his super chat money to the chemotherapy treatment, which is a very, very nice concept, right? We like that. That's positive. Same thing with him saying that he's going to let a homeless guy stay overnight at his house. It's a nice concept. We want to see the good. But the problem with this, of course, was that this is the wrong avenue to gain money for donations. You are not supposed to do that through super chats. You need to show proof that that money is going to go to charity. And in addition to that, as we probably all know, super chats, YouTube takes 30% of them. So if we want to raise money for charity, super chats are not the best way to do that, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there was another layer to all of this, which was the iPad. Sheet, do you remember the iPad?
I do remember the iPad. That was he was a broken iPad that a friend gave John so he could end up giving to the person, which
yes. Yeah. So in addition to not raising money correctly, not ever showing proof that the money went there, if I remember correctly, also he couldn't transfer the money for some reason. So he had to have somebody else give money, and it didn't seem like the amounts were matching entirely. He said that he would get the cancer patient an iPad so that they could pass the time while they're doing their chemotherapy. Again, so thoughtful, in the same way that he was thinking of Kate Meany and her beauty with the ring light. We need to get this person an iPad. But unfortunately, John, I believe from one of his bar buddies, got an old, outdated iPad that did not function at all. I think it was so outdated that you couldn't even do updates on it. And so it's just these little things where we're not doing great stuff. And then in addition to not doing great stuff, it's kind of like insult to injury, even if it was not intentional. Don't brag about it, kind of.
But with the cancer thing, so how do we know for sure he didn't give the money to the person?
I know that there was a lot of debate about this. Sheet, do you remember what the evidence of that ended up being? Because again, there's so much that happens. I could not find any evidence of this right now.
So the evidence is basically what John explained. So John was explaining the way that he was going to give the money to the cancer patient, which was he was going to give it to one of the moderators, so the moderators can write a check, and that check can be then given to the cancer patient. And the money that was received was through Venmos and Venmos only. It was just, there were so many steps that John was making everybody go through to get this money to the cancer patient, that it seemed shady. So nobody had like physical evidence that something weird was going on. It just seemed like, why are you doing all these weird things to give them money? Why don't you just give them the money directly? Because the total amount, if I remember correctly, was like $150 and the iPad mini. So it's like, dude, just write her a check. You're rich. You say you're rich. Write her a check for 500 and have it be, done with. You could write it off. But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed really, really weird that he was going through all these hoops.
But did that chatter just disappear?
No,
Did she follow up and say, I didn't get the money? Or
no, there was actually, of
anything?
course, like all of John's relationships, there was a falling out between this chatter and John. And she did say that she got the stuff, but that's when we found out that the iPad was broken. So it wasn't, this is what John wants to do. John wants to tell everybody the nice things that he did, but he really doesn't want to go out of his way to do nice things. So, and that's what was exposed basically. He was trying to let everybody else do all the work to get this money to this
Give the
cancer
money.
patient, but all he wanted to do was literally nothing. Just say, "Hey, donate the money," and that's it. But he wanted all the accolades for getting this money to her. That's how he operates.
Oh, okay. Never heard of that.
Miss Judy, it sounds like this one might have a lower ranking on the awfulness scale for you than some of the previous ones.
Because we didn't hear from this person flat out saying, I didn't get the money. And she said the iPad's busted, but did he know it was busted? I mean, I'm trying to weigh how terrible this could be. So I would say maybe a 2 or 3. Yeah, 2.5.
All right, we'll go 2.5 on that one. Miss Judy, one of the things that I absolutely adore about you is that you are evidence-based. So I agree that this one is a more challenging one to say, yes, this definitively happened, or no, this didn't definitively happen. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm actually going to put this one down at a 2. What about you, Sheet?
Yeah, this is low because really the egregious part is just him trying to get all the praise for doing this when it really was nothing that he did. So it's like a 2.5 for me.
You got it. Now that brings us to the end of our list of all of these horrible things. There are so many horrible things, we can't get to all of them, but Sheet, you did remind me of one other thing that I want to touch on, because I think that you might be right that this is probably going to be a very, very high level of awfulness. You reminded me that John was laughing at Chad Zumach's 9-year-old brother's death.
Yes. Oh. So Chad Zumach, let's be clear. Chad Zumach, a lot of people don't like him either. So he's done some awful things. But he did have a 9-year-old little brother who got ran over. I don't remember by who. I think it might have even been a family member or something in the driveway, if I remember correctly. But once John found out about this information, John didn't like Chad Zumach at the time. So John decided to make fun of the fact that Chad's little brother had died and was mocking it on his show, going, "Oh, hope my brother doesn't get run over by a Buick."
Oh,
and it's like,
terrible.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
he was 9.
That's low.
That's like really, really terrible. When I saw that, that's like one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's crazy.
It's
well, not only after he did that, he laughed out loud, like a belly laugh, like it was hilarious that this happened too, which is just egregious.
Yeah. So that
and again, it
like
comes
a 5. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just say 5.
That is exactly the type of thing that we see John repeatedly doing, which is trying to get to people with the things that might hurt them the most. And we've seen that repeated thing again and again. Sheet, you've talked about that in your documentaries. That is his modus operandi. That is exactly how he wants to upset people, is to figure out the thing that they care the most about and then go after that thing. And this was a particularly tragic, very, very tragic thing to make fun of. No matter how you feel about Chad Zumach, not an okay thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Not okay. What about you, Sheet? How would you rate this one?
Yeah, this is definitely 5, because this is not only, he's not necessarily laughing at Chad, he's laughing at the dead child, which is really, which is terrible,
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I don't think anyone was laughing with him. Yeah.
No, I don't think so
really
either.
trashy. Yeah.
So we have all of these different items, and I have now calculated which ones we have ranked the worst and which ones we have ranked the least. We will go back to them. We're going to hit just a couple more super chats, and then we will get to see the final scores. I'm actually pretty surprised by them, so it will be very, very interesting to see what the results were. Lyndon for $2. Ladies, don't watch Viking Morse. You will be smitten. Have you seen the Viking Morse?
No, what's that?
It's Mike Morse as a Viking. It's
Oh.
quite saucy, shall we say.
Oh, okay. Do they show it all the time?
They do. Oh, yeah, you
How
can
do I
see it
see
over
it?
at TSN. Yeah. Go
Okay.
watch it over on TSN. Although we'll have to find out what happened to the channel today. It sounds like it's not great over there right now.
Oh.
Reverend Rage coming in for $2. Lucy, I noticed always vocal fry, medical condition. Nope, I've just always sounded like this my whole life.
You sound fine. I would love to sound like you. So,
I've always had
nerve
the
of
deep voice
people.
and the vocal fry. They just exist. Ice Cube in my iced tea, $5. Everyone needs to see the video of John looking like E.T. trying to pick his little radio up outside of Melton's. Yes, that is
Okay.
the going
I
to
want to
Melton's.
see that. Yeah.
It's really funny.
I'll
I'll
have to
send you
look for it.
I'll go find it and send it over to you. I'm sure
Okay.
other people will too.
Okay.
Rumpled trench coat for $5. It was an iPad mini that was outdated and couldn't be used that he got for 4 or 5 beers from his bar friend. Thank you for the correction on that. Worst part for $2. John not saying I love you to his son is the worst.
That's another
We did
one too.
not-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not mention any of that stuff.
I remembered that one, but I honestly try to stay away from the John's kids stuff as much as I can. But it was John. That's a story John told. So it was a story where he said that his kid stayed the night because it was John's weekend to have him, and apparently there was cat fur on the sheets, and John's kid kept on saying, "Let's I can't sleep with this on there." So John had to change his sheets. He put on a new sheet on the bed, and there was still more cat hair on there. So the kid wanted to go home, and John was so mad that he had to take him home. He took him. Once he got home, the kid said, "I love you" to John, but John would not say "I love you" back to him.
Oh.
And the entire night, the kid was crying, and apparently he was under 10 years old at the time. But yeah, I have kids myself. I've never been so mad at them that I wouldn't say I love you. Like if they say I love you, there's a reaction that I'm going to say I love you back no matter what. I couldn't bring myself to not do that. That seems pretty horrible.
Oh.
Loving with conditions is a really painful thing to do to a child.
Yeah.
Darius Derek for $2. Judy and Lucy, you should call your show Juicy DV. Oh boy, very
Okay.
very saucy.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna look at these items one more time, and we will talk about what our actual rankings were. So we looked at some of the most deplorable things that John did, in addition to our conversations about the LOL suit that Miss Judy and I had a little bit earlier. And I am excited to report that there has been a tie. There are 2 items that we think are the worst of the worst, which were John making and mocking Artie Lang's suicide. We ranked that a perfect 5, so 15 points on that one. And similarly, we also rated a perfect score or an awful score for John laughing at Chad Zumach's 9-year-old brother's death. I think it's interesting that we both, all of our decisions are kind of about these really challenging topics. And I think that so much of what John does is say hurtful, horrible things. He does hurtful, horrible things also, but a lot of his words really do impact us in a lot of different ways. What do you think, Sheet? Do those results surprise you based on this list?
No, I kind of, those are 2 that really get me every time I hear about them,
Yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. What about you, Miss Judy?
Well, I mean, it's been interesting learning more about these sad and disappointing things that he's done. So it's just definitely disturbing. I don't know
Yeah.
what else to say about it, but it's like, oh,
You know, it-
it's like years and years of treating people like crap.
I'm kind of glad that we're doing this, because there is a lot of people that come into the Dabbleverse and they automatically feel bad for John. They say, "Oh, why is everybody picking on him? You know, this kind of seems sad that this is happening." And but if you really look at the history and why people are so harsh to him, there's reasons why people are so harsh. It's because he does a lot of shitty things, like really underhanded, dirty, shitty things. And so it's not like we just decided to pick on John one day. It's because he started doing all these shitty things that we decided that we were going to go so hard at him. But, you know, to be honest with you, he's never going to learn. I said it in my doc. When I started talking to him, I realized there is no changing him. He's never going to change. He didn't change for his family. They've told him plenty of times to stop drinking. You've told him to stop drinking, Judy, and he's not going to listen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's nothing we can do. He's going to be who he is. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It really is. I heard somebody recently say something to the effect of, somebody who had been friends with John. They said something to the effect of, when you really know him and then you listen to anything that he says, you realize how much more of it is a smokescreen, how much of it is lies, how horrific and horrible it really is, all the things that he's saying and doing. And that is an interesting point also. But again, when you're in this Dabbleverse for as long as Sheet has been, you get to see all of this horror. And it is hard to forgive somebody with that. It's hard to forgive somebody with that. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheet, how did you get into this stuff?
It was actually, there was another show called ROTC that was talking about John before. I don't know who was actually talking about John first, if it was Carl or ROTC, but I saw ROTC talking about him first. And that's what got me into it. And then I started watching Carl after that. And yeah, it was just, I watched John when he was on the Howard Stern show, but I was never really a fan of his era. I always liked Sal Governale and Richard Christie and Artie Lang. I never really watched John that much, but yeah, it was those guys that on the internet making fun of him that got me into this, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they got into him well after the Howard Stern. Judy, if I remember correctly, you weren't familiar with him before all of this?
Yeah, I had never even heard of this guy. And then Vince somehow started telling me about this. And, you know, when I first watched it, I was like, this is so stupid. You know, why are you wasting your time? This is so dumb. But I don't know. There's something kind of alluring and very entertaining about it. So, you know, it does bring us laughter. Gives us something to laugh about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. And again, now you've become one of the most knowledgeable people, I would say, in this little Dabbleverse. And Sheet, also, your documentary is absolutely incredible. We will have a couple more super chats to hit up. But before we do that, Sheet, will you tell everybody where they can find you and where they can go and support you?
Yeah, you can go to Sheet Shitterson on YouTube, and my Venmo is at Sheet Shitterson if you want to donate. So yeah, right now I'm taking a break from the documentary thing because it is really time consuming and I have kids and stuff like that. So I don't know when the next one's coming out. So to be honest with you, a lot of people are asking me.
We will patiently wait. We are excited.
Yeah,
we are excited.
thank
It
you.
will be worth the wait. It was so worth the wait for your second one. Your first one, I just recently rewatched your first one, prepping for this show, and boy, oh boy, is it even better than I remember. So everybody go check out Sheet Shitterson on YouTube, and like you said, the Venmo as well, Sheet Shitterson. And Miss Judy, tell everybody where they can find you, what you got exciting coming up.
Sure. Well, tomorrow I have a show with Vince and we haven't prepared for it, but maybe we'll just wing it. Yeah, it's kind of like a weird combination of sort of legal stuff, trials, true crime, and then we start talking about Dabbleverse. So half the audience leaves. So I don't know what to do about it, but we're having fun.
That's half the battle. Having fun is half the battle always. And people can find that on AA Legal Focus
Yes.
on YouTube.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's hit a couple more of these super chats and we will get out of here. Reverend Rage coming in for $2. Every John question was before his redemption arc. I don't know that I'm familiar with his redemption arc.
Yeah, what does that mean? Did he do something great to make people forgive him in the last year?
In the last day, I would ask that question. I don't know. Sheet, have you watched any John today? Maybe something great has happened.
Not today, but in the last 2 or 3 months, he's just been just as awful as he's always been. So I don't see the redemption.
Haven't you guys heard that some people said they stopped drinking because of watching John?
Absolutely.
So it changed their lives seeing this.
Oh, absolutely. And I hope John does have a redemption arc. I want the end of the story to be a happy one. You know, I do. I probably shouldn't because he's hurt so many of my friends and people that I care about, but whatever. GMB coming in for $2. Do not give him any personal information. I would agree with that advice. And with that, I would like to thank Miss Judy. Thank you so much for being here and joining and talking about the lawsuit. And Sheet Shitterson, thank you so much for being here and regaling us with the tales of the history of this crazy, crazy Dabbleverse. And
thank you.
We will see you guys all soon.